Welcome to another fantastic episode of Small Business Celebration Meat and Potatoes, the show where we do a deep dive. We expose the secrets of small business inner workings so that you can grow a strong and profitable business. And we couldn't do this without our presenting sponsor and our location sponsor. At Oliver & Associates Real Estate, we know that buying or selling a home isn't just a transaction, it's a life moment. That's why they're committed to building relationships that last. They take the time to truly understand your needs, your dreams, your stories, so they can find you not just a house, but a home. Give Oliver Associates a call at 661-808-3444 or check them out at yourrealtor.us today. Today's Meat and Potatoes episode location is brought to you by Modern Gigi Gallery, an ultra-modern art gallery located in downtown Bakersfield, California, featuring the artworks of the modern abstract artist Johnny Ramos. Whether you're looking for artwork for your office, your home, or a postcard you can send as a thank you note, go to Modern Gigi Gallery located at 900 18th Street in Bakersfield, or give them a call at 661-374-7724 or email them at art@moderngigi.com today. Welcome to another small. The great thing about being live is I can flub up, and everybody knows it. We're here at Modern Gigi with our guest today. His name is Jim Gillis, the owner of KRRJ Collectibles. Welcome to Small Business Celebration Meat and Potatoes Live. If I can even get this out right.
Hey, it happens, right? I mean, I flub everything. I probably won't even get my name right.
Exactly. Well, for the visionaries who didn't see your episode on the main show, who are you and what is it that you do?
My name is Jim Gillis. I'm the owner of KRRJ Collectibles here in Bakersfield. We sell toys and collectibles for people, from high-end collectibles to just regular toys.
And you primarily specialize in Funko.
Yes, we do have a lot of Funkos.
Now, why Funko?
Well, they're just fun. What I love about Funko is that there's something for everybody. That's what they say. There's something for everybody. So
right.
you've got things from sports to movies to almost anything.
Right.
Disney.
You even
anything.
have Justin Jefferson, wide receiver Funko for the Minnesota Vikings, do you not?
Yeah, actually you have.
Actually, I have it now. You were generous enough to give me one. Thank you.
We do have Joe Montana, Nick Bosa.
Never heard of him.
You know.
All those third stringers.
Yeah, those Hall of Famers.
No, there isn't any rivalry going on whatsoever.
Behind the scenes.
They're behind the scenes. There we go. Well, but that's just a part of what you've got there as a collector, because you also have a whole variety of other stuff. Some of it's pretty expensive. I mean, it's not just your typical $7, $8, $9, $10, $12 stuff.
Yeah, and that's what the important thing is to carry a lot of different items, carry some high dollar items, carry some low dollar items. We want to have things like, we have some really high dollar Funko Pops. We've got designer art toys, which people haven't seen in most places, then they're very limited that people like. We've got stuff like Day of the Dead Barbies. We've got pins like of Scooby-Doo and just some great stuff.
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z. We've got Disney Loungefly, all sorts of stuff.
And you've got this one that's Sriracha? Sketchracha. What's that?
What it is it's this artist. His name is called Quicks,
yeah.
And he kind of makes it like it's like a designer art toy,
right?
But it's really limited. I think that one that we showed was like 300 pieces. It's not very many of them, and that's worldwide. That's not just like, oh, there's 300 in the U.S., 300 in the Philippines. That's worldwide.
Wow.
So you've got in designer art toys. What it is it's a toy that's designed by an artist, and usually they have low numbers. There's not a whole lot of them. You don't see them all the time.
Right.
Something that they really speak to you. Now, that's the thing about designer art toys. It's kind of like art. It's
right.
like it may not speak to you,
right.
but it may speak to you, and that's the best thing about it is if it does.
Now, my wife absolutely loves the purses that Disney has, and she's got, I don't know, like 200 of them or something like that. But you have one that is really sought after there in your store. It's from the Little Mermaid.
Yeah, we have a little couple different ones. We have the Ursula purse. We have the Little Mermaid backpack.
Right.
And you can get all three in the wallet. You can get them to match, or you can just get one or whatever you want to do.
And I have to ask, because it's July 2025, so if you're going to try to ask him for this in the store 6 years from now at this price, it's not going to happen. But how much is that going for right now?
May not even be there. Like the wallet's like 43, which is including tax, and I think the backpack's 87.
87.
So it's between 43 and 87, and the tax is already included in all that. So.
But going back to the Sriracha one, how much is that one worth?
Boy, I think it's at 300. Yes.
For that one piece?
Yeah, and that piece, if you don't know, it's about 12 inches tall, so it's actually about this big. It's a good sized piece. In designer art toys, it's interesting because regular size for designer art toys is this big. It's only 3 inches.
Really?
And some of those can go up for $200-300 a piece.
Wow.
So that size is the size that people like, but they start at 3, they have 6, then they've got 12-inch sizes on that one. We've got ones in our store as big as 15, 16 inches tall.
Wow.
Of different items.
It's like this big.
Yeah, it's like this big.
Holy cow.
They're nice and big. They're statement pieces. They're not just to be there to just be there.
Okay, now I have to ask, because if I don't, it's going to appear in the comment section like crazy. What's the most expensive piece you have?
In the store or in my life?
You know what? We're going to call it the location undisclosed.
Okay, so let's just do the store. So in the store right now, the most expensive piece we have is the $1,500 Skeletor. It's a 480-piece Funko.
Yeah.
It's old. Back then, they didn't take really good care of them, so there may not even be 400 pieces left of that right now. So that's a very sought after, highly collectible item. So it's a pretty high price.
Which brings me to the point of this deep dive, because it's almost cliche, and this is one of the reasons why I asked you to come on, is because people know that collecting toys, collecting collectibles, there is a supply-demand part of this, and there's very much a very linear system to figuring out how much it's worth and how much you charge for it and how much you buy it for. Because you also buy collectibles from other people.
Yes, at times we do.
Right, okay.
We will buy them from them, or we usually will trade for store credit. So what they'll do is they'll want to move on from something and move to something else.
Right.
So
how do you figure out what the base price is on something? So somebody comes in with that Skeletor item.
Yes.
Okay. And and it's not exactly one of those kind of things where you can phone a friend and say, "Hey, can you give me a price on this?"
Exactly. Well, you got to do a little bit of research. So when it comes to certain items over a certain price, you have to go out and research. So you may check some of the online auction sites, see what the most recent sales were at, see where it's kind of at, what you already know, and that's where you would start. That would be like its value. And then if they were going to sell it or trade it in, we figure out, well, there's only a certain percentage that we can offer because we're going to hold on to this thing. I call it you're transferring that, I just forgot the name of what I saw.
Right.
The risk. You're transferring the risk.
Okay.
So if you want to go and sell that item and get the most amount of money, you're going to take the risk. You're going to take the risk of, is it ever going to sell?
Right.
Or is the person that bought it from me, are they going to try to defraud me somehow?
Right, sure.
Is it going to get damaged in shipment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
Right.
That's that risk. So part of when it gets sold to me or traded to me is I take on that risk that it will never sell, that it will never move on.
That's the secret right there.
Yeah.
Is how do you figure out what that risk is for you? Because that's the thing everybody wants to know is, okay, if I have this $1,000 item, how much of that $1,000 do you say, okay, I'm going to sell it to, I'm going to buy it from you for 40%, 20%, 80%?
It depends on where the economy is at the time. Because if there's a lot of money always coming in and people are always coming in and buying, it's easier to move something.
Right.
If there's not as many people, it takes a bit longer.
Right.
And one of the things that gets lost on people sometimes is they forget that every little item inside of a store has a little bit of rent attached to it every single month.
Right.
So if a higher dollar item, it may sit there for a year. You got to say, hey, this may be here for a year or more. I have to take that into consideration. If I'm like if it's a very popular item that maybe a lot of people have asked for,
Right.
I can go a little bit higher because I know it's not going to sit there
So
very
you
long.
don't really have a percentage that you can
I have
nail
a
to.
percentage in my head that I use,
yeah.
and then we kind of go off of that, but it can go up and down just a little bit depending on how long it might sit there.
Right. Okay.
Because just because something's very valuable doesn't mean that it's going to sell,
Right.
which is the hardest thing to understand. Because like
Right.
going back to the Minnesota Vikings and the
Right.
49ers. Now, here we are, we're very close to San Francisco. We're not so close to Minnesota.
Right.
So if someone brought, like if I was selling a autographed Justin Jefferson jersey, yes, it would sell here, but it's going to
Take a
a
lot
lot longer,
longer.
and it's going to be worth a little bit less than
Right.
it would be in the Minneapolis area.
So would this be a situation where you would make contacts when using the Vikings and 49ers as an example of it, you would build relationships with other collectible stores in Minneapolis and say, hey, do you have something that we could trade? I've got this Justin Jefferson jersey. Do you have a Joe Montana, or do you have, that sort of thing?
100%. You do that all the time. You try to build relationships because some of the items may not move here, they may move over there.
Right.
And the last thing you want to do is sell something for even less than what you paid for
Sure.
it.
Right.
So if you can get something that's going to move better where you're at, and they're going to get something that's going to move better than where they're at, you're both going to have a win-win situation.
This kind of goes for just about any other industry, does it not?
It can be used across the board. I will tell you I've always found interesting is like when you go to like say a big box store and they seem to have all of these sizes left, and they're all small mediums left
right,
here.
that nobody can wear.
But then you go down to one in Burbank and all they've got left are extra large and XXL. I've never understood why they don't just go swap those.
Right.
Because you should know who your customer base is.
Right, sure. When you go through and you've got these various items and whatnot, and you've figured out, okay, the fair market value is X amount, how do you tell the person who is not used to going through and figuring out fair market value that, I'm sorry, I know you're really attached to this, you really like this piece a lot, but it's not worth spit?
Yeah, well, so one of the things I'm really known for is I'm always trying to tell people up front the truth, where everything's at. I'm not sitting there, I'm not going to mince words. Sometimes I have to tell them, I'm sorry, this is going to be an offensive offer. It's just where it's at right now.
Right.
Just because you saw somebody buy something on some pawn show and, they gave $20,000 for that. It doesn't mean it's going to sell in Bakersfield for $20,000.
And that pawn show knew the one person that had 20 grand to buy it.
Yeah, they probably already had somebody
Sure.
lined up. But we do have those happen too. So like if somebody comes in my store and they have something that I'm not going to take, I do try to send them to somebody who may take it. It's just important to realize that, you may come into my store and it's toys and collectibles. You're not going to bring coins into me. I don't know about coins.
But
I'll send them somewhere. Yeah, I know a guy, but I'll send you to the right guy.
Sure.
As long as I know the right guy, and that's what's important is that when you're trying to figure out these things, all these things, is you've got to. There's so many factors in it. It's not just what's it going to sell for, it's how long it's going to sit. How many people are actually going to be interested in it? A $10,000 item, if only one person's interested in it, is not worth $10,000. It's only worth whatever somebody will pay you for it.
And that's
important.
And you have to be willing to say, you know what, not now.
Yeah, all the time. I tell people all the time, you don't have to take the offer. It may not be good. Just say no, it's not going to offend me. I try not to offend you, it's not going to offend me, because it's just, sometimes that's just where it's at. It's just may not be the right time or the right place.
Well, let's offend everybody.
Oh, we can offend anybody.
Okay, so that brings us to the fortune cookie game. And visionaries, if you're not familiar with the way the fortune cookie game goes, I have a sealed fortune cookie here in my hand. I'm going to go ahead and give it to our guest. Our guest has to unseal the fortune cookie, break open the fortune, and
let's see if I can actually do this.
And pull out the fortune, and he must read the fortune fortune and add in my business at the end of it and elaborate.
Oh, I broke the fortune. That's a good thing. So it says, you will discover new strength in an ongoing battle. Well, that is...
In your business.
Yeah, that is what we do every day.
Okay.
I mean, you discover it. We talked about the little reel I threw up and the other day about glass breaking.
Just mysterious, like a ghost.
Yeah. And I just put it up to show, things happen and get like a little thing, because it was something I'd never seen happen before, and like the glass was popping and everything. And what happened is a lot of people thought it was great. And that's something that maybe, somebody decides they want to come in my store and check out my store now because they didn't see my store, but they saw this glass blow up in my store and now they want to know what's going on.
Visioneers, you heard it here first on Small Business Celebration Meat and Potatoes. KRRJ Collectibles is haunted. All right, well, thank you so now, Visioneers, now it's time for the most intelligent person I know to take this seat. She is 180 degrees opposite me in so many different ways, and she is producer Emily, and she's got questions.
And Questions by Emily is sponsored by Cazador Consulting. Need elite talent to grow your team? Cazador Consulting Group in Bakersfield is your go-to partner in staffing and direct hires. They don't just fill jobs, they build lasting partnerships by listening to your needs and delivering top-tier customer service. At Cazador, mutual success isn't a goal, it's the standard. This is more than staffing, it's building your team so you can build your business. Visit CazadorConsultingGroup.com or call 877-800-4622. That's CazadorConsultingGroup.com or 877-800-4622, and let's build your future together.
Hello, Visionaires. Welcome back to Questions by Emily. I'm Emily. I've got questions, and if you've got questions, feel free, drop them in the chat, and I will ask Jim. Michael gives me far too much credit, but I definitely did write a few things down. So, to start with, how does something become collectible?
Well, that's interesting. It depends on the person, because almost anything can be collectible. You could collect old shoes, you could collect artwork, you could collect toys, you could collect, if you're rich enough, houses. Anything's collectible to anybody. So it really, with collectibles, it's about what is that person looking for? What do they want? Mm-hmm. And like in my industry, people like to look for things that make them feel good. Mm-hmm. And that's generally when it comes to all collectibles. You're not going to just collect something to collect something. At that point, you're hoarding. You want to have something. You want to enjoy something. So when it comes to collectibles, most of the time, it's what somebody enjoys, or what they enjoyed when they were a child and they want to get now, or when they were first went into business for themselves and they had to sell the car they had and had to go back and get it, and then they decided, I want different models of this. It's what makes somebody happy.
But your store, for example, you've got a lot of Funko Pops. Mm-hmm. How did Funko Pops become collectible to the point of now they have a lot of real estate in your store?
Well, when they first came out, they were something different. They were cute. And like for myself, for instance, my son had gifted me one, and I'm like, this thing's cool looking. I like the way it looks, and it's kind of neat. And then I found out that it could be worth some money, and I started buying like 2 or 3 of them so that I could have, I wanted a perfect box. And I found out that, hey, I could sell off the other ones because other people were looking for it. So what it really was is that company set up to make something for everybody, and people found, hey, I can have this. I can put this little guy on my desk, like I gave you an L1, and you can sit it on your desk, look at it, and think of something that you enjoy and that you thought about. And that's what makes them so fun, but they can also be collectible. You can go, oh, I want the entire Disney princesses, or I want all of Raiders of the Lost Ark because it's my favorite show. And that's what it's really along, is that's where it became collectible. Now, are all of them going to become priceless? No. Are all of them going to become worthless? No. But you're going to have that, that fine line of enjoyment. And that's one of the things I always tell people is enjoy it. If you enjoy it, your collection's going to be awesome. If you don't enjoy it, it's not a collection anymore. It's just like heartache. So enjoy it, and if it becomes worth more money, that's the best thing. It's awesome. But if it doesn't, who cares, because you enjoyed it anyhow.
So before that, what was the collectible item of the decade?
Oh, it changes all the time. So you would have things like shoes, like Jordan shoes. Guys would collect every pair. Or, you know, Pokemon cards got really hot, and they're still really hot right now. It just goes from thing to thing. It depends on the person. And it's weird because you don't know what the next hot thing is. A long time ago, it was Beanie Babies, and everybody wanted to have them. You just don't really know what it's going to be, but you hope that you can catch that fire when it is.
So, Beanie Babies, for example, that was actually a question I had. Is that a longevity thing, or is that a craze?
That was more of a craze. I would say what happened with that one, and it happened a little bit into Funko as well, because some of those same people went into it, is that everybody started thinking they were going to become worth all of this money, and there was an artificial inflation on the prices going up, and this was the beginnings of the internet, and you had those just like where people just, oh, we got to get this, and everybody was running all over trying to grab this one and that one, and they thought, oh, this is my house. This is going to pay for my next house. This is my next car. And then it found out that somebody was artificially inflating those prices, and they just a few of them were worth what they were worth. But it still is collectible, just not as collectible. It doesn't have as many fans of it now, because that's what you really need. Is if you're going to have value with something, the dollar amount you can attach to it, there has to be people wanting it. You can collect anything. Doesn't mean there's going to be a dollar amount attached to it, because if people don't want it, there's no value to it, just to you. So with those things, if the values drop down, some people may still collect them, but that prices aren't going to be as high as they used to be. You're not going to go into your attic right now and find a Beanie Baby collection and go, oh, I'm retiring. It may only be worth, $1,000, and 20 years ago it was worth like $50,000. So it's just like stocks, right? If you buy and sell stocks at the wrong time, you're going to miss out. But if you can time them right, it can be great.
But that's really why you want to have joy in the process.
100%.
Because if you just buy it as a retirement fund, you're probably going to lose money on it.
You will definitely lose money. And we had talked about this before, is that if you buy something that you're buying it just for money, the problem is when it goes down, is you're going to walk by that thing every single day and just gritting your teeth and
why didn't I sell it when?
Yeah, exactly. Why didn't I get rid of it when it was worth
why
this?
did I buy it in the first place?
Don't do that, because it never works. The best thing is have something you enjoy, and if it becomes worth more, that's great, and you're going to be happy either way. But if you try to buy it for investments, it's just not the smartest thing. Unless you're just like moving everything constantly, that's where it would be okay for you.
So then how do you go ahead and price things in your store? Because you've got things as low as $15 and the high as $1,500. So how do you know?
I'm a combo kind of thing. I buy wholesale and I sell retail on the majority of my items in the store. So like on older Funkos though, that's a different thing. Once they've been out for a while and they're not available anymore, their prices may go up, they may go down. Once they hit that volatility, that's where we watch what they're selling for. And that's how we figure out the prices. Is the last 10 sales, did they sell between $10 and $20? And we take the top and bottom, get rid of that, and see what the average is in the middle.
So you're doing math on all of the ones that you're selling to find
For all
the
those
average.
kids out there, math is important in life. Especially if you own a business, you do math every single day. Yes, every day. But it's a process. Now, some of them, they're brand new, it's just the, whatever the $15 price point is. With most of the stuff, when I get it from the wholesaler and I'm putting it at retail, I just mark the price at retail plus tax. So we don't have to do any math on that. We just put it there. But on older items, we have to look at, is this a really hot item that a lot of people are looking at? Or is it nobody looking at it? Is it just something that some people are going to use for filler? So there's a lot that goes into it. And you just got to do what you got to do.
So as a business, how do you decide, especially as a collectibles where people don't have to see it, right? They could just buy it online. How do you determine whether or not you have your store online or in person?
So we have some things online. Mainly the things we have online are items that we have quantities on. For me, because right now I'm myself and I'm the only person in there, so it's me, myself, and I. So it would be harder for me to list every little teeny item. But why would a person want to come into my store instead of buying it online? Well, there's a couple of things. One is that they got to remember there's a shipping cost involved, and shipping is just it's gotten out of control right now. So even if you could buy something for $10 online and I'm selling it for $13, that shipping cost may be $6. So you can still get it cheaper at my store. The other thing is a lot of people like to support small businesses, and let's be honest, it's touching it, making sure this is the one I like. Is it in the condition I like? Because when you order something offline, it doesn't always come how the pictures looked. You can't predict that.
Very true. Well, it's part of the experience, right?
Right. And that is the fun of the collectibles type store, is that it's what we call the hunt, is looking through stuff, looking behind stuff and finding something that, even like me, the store owner, forgot was there and that you found it. So there is that fun, and there's a lot of people that really enjoy that. They like going out for the hunt. They'll go to different stores and they'll look for stuff. So there's that. It's become a thing for people where, you can do things online, but I don't know. Have you ever ordered a shirt online and you get it and it doesn't fit?
Doesn't fit.
I
was on the hunt for a blue dress one time. I think I ordered 20 and landed on 1.
Yeah, and you don't know what they're going to look like. They can have all these fancy things that show you what it's going to look like, but it doesn't mean it's going to fit right. Doesn't mean it's going to look right. Doesn't mean that blue you saw is the right blue. And that's being in person. You can talk to somebody. Like if you come into my shop. I talk way too much, and I'll talk about anything. I'll talk about, if you get me talk about movies, I'll talk about movies all day long, sports, whatever people want to talk about. If you want to come in and just shoot the stuff, that's what we're there for. It's supposed to be a fun environment to be at. Do
the majority of your customers, are they coming in to collect something, or are they coming in to play with it? Like, are they coming in to buy it and then take it out of the package?
It's about 90% collecting.
Really?
You do get a lot of people that bring in their kids and stuff. We do have a section of people that come into the stores and buy action figures, and you could consider that playing with it, because they actually take them and it's great. They put them out and they take pictures of them and they have them in environments and do all sorts of amazing stuff with it.
Fun.
You get some where they'll come and they'll use them as figures for drawing their artwork. So you have a lot of stuff. So I don't know if we really consider that playing, but hey, it is to a point.
But
you're
your
having
customers,
fun.
and that's part of doing business, is knowing who you're selling to.
Yeah, and that's the main thing. Is like one of the other things that's great is, they had a TV show back in the day where everybody went to a bar and they talked about how everybody knew your name. And I'm not going to remember anybody's name. I can't remember my own name half the time, but I'm going to remember the faces. And I remember when people come in, and I always try to make everybody that comes in feel like they're the most important person that day.
And how do you reward your loyal customers, the people that come back month after month?
Yeah, that's a tough one. You just have good prices. But we have a lot of things. Like we have a thing every month where we have a drawing for something. Like right now we're having, if people spend $20, they get a ticket into our drawing to try to win.
Keep it interactive.
Yeah, to try to win a pair of tickets to a football game. So you do things that are fun, and we have little lollipops for the kids if they want to come and get those. Most of the time it's the adults getting them. So
they're still good the older you get.
And it's just taking care of people. Remembering that a person that came in, that hey, they were looking for this one particular pop and you found it and you kept it off to the side for them. those are the kind of things that I try to do. Is am I perfect at it? No, but I try to make people realize that I'm there for them, not for me, and having a fun environment for them.
Well, thank you, Jim. And if people want to go to your store and get in touch with you, how do they do that?
We're located at 1410 Weibel Road, Bakersfield, California, 93304. We're across the street from the mall in the same parking lot as Furniture City. And it's a cool little location, a lot of fun to come into. You can also catch us on Instagram at KRRJ Collectibles. We always post everything we've got on there, as well as anything that's happening, including Mick Foley's coming to our store in November. And if you don't know who he is, he's a WWE wrestler.
Wow, that's super exciting. Well, thank you. Thank you for being on here.
Yeah.
And for Visioneers that want to keep up with the show, feel free, check out our main show episode that we had. We had Sarah Haggard on with Deluge Consulting. We talked about raising your prices in a service-based business, how to determine your value, and set profitable rates. It was a wonderful fun, and Jim's got an episode on our main show too, so check that out, and we will see you next week for our Monday live at wow, easy for me to say, our Monday live at 5.